Tonight, news of two exciting new developments on the export front. We joined the 75th Jubilee celebrations of the School of Physiotherapy. And there's action from the South Island jet sprint champs. Good evening. A Dunedin businessman says the answer to the South's economic woes lies across the Tasman. Jim Bennett puts his engineering firm's success down to a drive to export more to Australia, and he believes other local firms could battle out of the doldrums by taking more advantage of closer economic relations, as Chris Bishop reports.
They say the noise on the factory floor will be even louder next year. At a time when many are shedding jobs, this Dunedin firm is booming and expects to double its workforce. Thousands of steel car parts are churned out by the hour, destined for the Australian market. If you see a new Ford or Holden, chances are it's held together with Dunedin-made parts. Pouring off this machine are seat hinges for the new Falcon. Seat clips are another big seller. In Australia, they'll fetch about 60 cents each. More than $1 million worth of parts were exported last year, meaning job security for the firm's 24 workers. The key to success has been clever marketing and the use of the relaxed trade that came with CER. Manager Jim Bennett saw early on that New Zealand car making was declining and began to sell his products across the Tasman. He believes others should join in and says Dunedin is ideally placed on the shipping lanes for quick delivery to Australia.
The wider market's outside the shores of New Zealand, and that's where our future lies.
Do you think that a lot of other companies could follow?
Well, I'm sure if companies put their mind to it and seek out these markets, then it'll be the saviour of New Zealand.
While others are still watching, DC Ross is using its share of export funds to update present machinery and develop new ideas. This is the firm's next venture, kit cars. Made from Dunedin parts, of course.
Chris Bishop. And it's not just city firms that stand to benefit through new export markets. A Southland beekeeper is proving that with high-quality honey exports to Japan. Murray Ballantyne of Woodlands teamed up with a Japanese distributor 2 years ago. He started by developing a market for high-moisture honey. Now, as Peter Cruikshank reports, he's sold his first container of honeycombs.
The 16 tonnes of premium quality Southland honey going into the container is destined to be gift-wrapped for perhaps the most fastidious customers in the world. Along with drums of liquid honey, 1,000 frames of honey straight from the hive will be used for in-store demonstrations to show the Japanese what pure and natural product it is. Apparently many of them are sceptical and think sugar is added to our honey.
Honey is a natural product and has no added sugars, and if they can, they'll slice the cappings off the frames, and then they'll have these little extractors which they'll have in the high-class department stores, and they'll just spit the honey out of them, have the honey coming out, show the customer that they are eating a pure and natural product from New Zealand.
2 years ago, Murray Ballantyne had a visit from a Japanese distributor who asked him to produce some of this very runny liquid, which hadn't been evaporated much by the bees. He earned a big premium, even though it meant visiting the hives every 3 days in the summer. This year, there'll be a market for 110 tonnes, next year 170, and all apiarists from Oamaru South who produce clover honey will benefit. Back from a fortnight in Japan, he says honey products were expensive there, but packaging and presentation were superb. His buyer's brochure is mailed to 100,000 clients.
And it's all about packaging, of course, and New Zealand is a long, long way behind the packaging when it comes to this. And I think we must realise as New Zealand producers that if we can put our added value onto the high-class products that we send them, then they can do the packaging and produce the goods for us in the market over there.
With honey selling for as much as $20 a kilo, Murray Ballantyne has also gone in for some quality packaging himself to find his own way into the market.
This is also a product that we send to the Japanese market, 340 squares of comb honey. They're also aimed at the high-priced gift market, but this year we've developed this new 200 gram round pack, which we hope we'll be able to aim at the high-class supermarkets over there, which will enable us to target comb honey at another sector of people to increase the consumption or increase the usage of comb honey on more kitchen tables in Japan.
At a time when some honey producers have been struggling, Murray Ballantyne is confident he's found a market that holds a lot of promise for beekeepers in the south.
And still with export stories, the loading of a large consignment of logs for Korea, which began at Port Chalmers today, won't do a lot to relieve congestion at the port. A spokesman for the Otago Harbour Board says 2 shiploads of chips are waiting to be exported, as well as 2 or 3 loads of logs, and the port's being stretched to the limit. The Southern Cosmos is loading 9,000 cubic metres of Pinus radiata logs for Korea. About half the consignment is from the Dunedin City Council's plantation and the balance from private plantations and woodlots throughout Otago. Physiotherapists from around the country were in Dunedin at the weekend to celebrate another milestone for one of the city's many centres of learning. The country's first school of physiotherapy is now 75 years old. Alan Baddock attended some of the celebrations and checked out where the school is headed from here.
They've definitely come a long way since the previously suspect arts of massage and manipulation were given their own school back in 1913. But even since then, it seems there have been problems for some in seeing just where the new discipline fits into the scheme of things. In its time, the school's been shunted from university control to the hospital board and more recently to the Otago Polytechnic. But it survived nonetheless, and about 200 graduates turned up at the weekend to celebrate the fact.
I'm pleased to see so many of you here to celebrate the school which helped make you what you are today.
It never looks much to the outsider, but clearly this is what reunions are all about.
Okay, this time. Oh, too serious. Come on, look. That's better. Hello, there was one with her eyes shut.
A fairly sober occasion this time round, but apparently things haven't always been this serious.
No, they did a test actually. National Radiation Laboratory tested on the machines, not on emitting too many dangerous radiation.
I think everything goes in cycles, including physiotherapy. There was the day, of course, we started as massage and the massage school. It went through a period of hands-off and everything was very much into electrical equipment and in those days technology as such. We come back to our manual skills and the hands-on techniques, but we are now also into much more critical measurement with computerized equipment, visual aids, all this sort of thing is helping us to become, I think, more measurable.
More measurable and certainly more visible.
So your heart rate's going up now, and if we keep you at that steady state of exercise, and in a minute or so we'll wind up the work rate on the bicycle and your heart rate will increase.
How about this for a graphic lesson in how a knee joint works? Technology's not all that's new. The school's just waiting to move into the new Polytech complex at Logan Park. And by 1990, it's hoped to start a 4-year degree course.
This is a great step forward for physiotherapy education. It'll enable students to be prepared adequately for research skills and ongoing programs and higher education within a university environment. There will still be physiotherapy papers taught by the Otago Polytechnic, but particularly the preclinical sciences and more advanced levels of scientific study will be university papers that are already most of them already in existence.
That'll bring things full circle, linking the school back with the university where it all started 75 years ago.
Now, some action from one of the fastest growing spectator sports in the country. Roaring engines, flying gravel and exhilarating speed were all part of the South Island Jet Sprint Championships at Gore yesterday. Gaynor Smith has the story.
It's not just the rate of knots you can wring out of your boat that counts in jet sprinting. Just remembering which tortuous turn comes next on a course like this is a skill on its own. Gore's gravel crusher site was the venue. A course excavated just enough for full throttle with a steady hand, yet harbouring the risk of sudden stall in the shallows. And when it's the clock you're racing, every one of those lost seconds counts, as former national jet sprint champion Muriel Mackenzie from Bluff found to his cost in the open class. 59.6 seconds wasn't good enough to win. Thrills and spills are what the Southland branch of the New Zealand Jet Boat Association had promised the crowd. And they got both, with some anxious moments for Canterbury's Bruce Street, whose boat flipped and caught fire, but no one was hurt. There was no doubt about the open class winner when Rodney Kohio of Christchurch showed the form that made him Jet Sprint's first world champion early this year. A clear win by 6 seconds.
Exciting stuff. Now, the winners of the Otago Museum Build-A-Bug contest we previewed on Friday. This computer bug from the Salvation Army Access program in Oamaru was judged the most creative entry. The creative section for a score went to Tidy High. The best individual scientific entry was a weta made by Alexandra Cunningham of Dunedin's Opaho School. And the best scientific school section bug was made by Pine Hill School. And let's hope the bugs stay away from these azaleas and the grounds of First Church, sure sign that spring is on the way. Quick look at the 3 o'clock temperatures, 11 tomorrow for Invercargill, 12 tomorrow predicted as highs for Dunedin. We'll be back tomorrow night. Good night.